So again, I'm going to just work on the basic forms, and I'm working on black paper. This is a really cheap, I think it's just like a construction paper. They do have special papers, that you can buy for working with, charcoal or pastel, different colored sort of papers. But because this is just practice, I really don't want to waste expensive paper with this. But that might affect how the pastel will take to it, because there's not much what we call tooth. Let me explain what I mean by that first of all before we begin. Basically, if you look at a piece of paper, if you look at, let's say here, pretend that white line is a piece of paper, we're looking at the edge of it, and microscopically, if you could see it, you would see that this is why they call it tooth. It has all of these little bumps like that. And how close can I get so you can really see what I'm doing here? Okay, and so if I take a pastel and I press hard on my paper, and I fill in all of these little microscopic little teeth, then when I go to put another color, so let's say if I want to mix, I want to put another color, what ends up happening is it ends up just trying to go on top, but there's no tooth left there to grab it. It either will just, it might just sit on top, or it's just really not going to go on at all. Okay, so when you work with pastel, you don't press too hard, and then it'll just, the tooth will pick up a little bit of the color, and then you can go in with the second one, and then it'll pick up a little bit of color, and then you might go over with another one and it'll pick up a little color, and then you can, then work with those, and those colors will begin to smear and they'll layer and they'll get on top, and you can just sort of keep on building, and you get this wonderful mixing happening of all of these colors. Okay, so that's why paper for charcoal and stuff is really rough like that. Okay, so that you can accomplish something like that. Yeah, the lighting's not really showing it, but there you go. Okay, so I'm just trying to show that there. All right. All right. Let's go ahead. So I like to work with white on here. And I'm just going to press lightly. I'm not going to bother drawing in my cross contour lines. I just need to keep those in mind. Okay. The light source is going to be off to the right hand side, over on this side here. So my light is going to be going this way, onto this side. So first I want to imagine what is the actual color of my sphere. Okay, so let's, we could pretend this is a cue ball or something like that, or maybe this is the, so since I have the orange, we'll just start with the orange. And so I can go over, oh, you might be wondering, why in the world would I work on black? Because of the paper, it's always going to show a little bit through. I wonder if I can get rid of the glare there. You can see some of the black showing, some of the paper showing through, and that black can work in my favor. White will often make it pale. It's really a personal preference. So I'm putting my first layer down very lightly. Just using the side. Oh, spider or something crawling all over it. It's gone now. Some sort of little flying bug, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna first just very lightly put this down And I like to get as much color as possible. But in the end, this is, I want it to feel like it's an orange ball, but I really, variety. I just love variety. I don't want to just stick with this in black. And that's when you'll know, well, I do have black here, okay? In our first slide is, oh, shadows. So I bring in black. The truth is though, shadows are not black or gray. Shadow is only black when it's on a black surface. And even then it's often not black, okay? A shadow is a darker, duller version of the color that it is on. So if the shadowed side on my orange ball here is going to be a dark, dull orange. Okay, so this is not a really good pastel here because it's kind of broken. So, okay, so right away, I'm going to use a circular motion. And I'm gonna just right away brighten that side up. That's gonna be where my highlight is. So I'm gonna warm that up and brighten it with this yellow orange. And the beauty of these pastels, you can just keep on going over and over and over them again, right? I'm gonna bring a little bit of blue because that is the complementary of my orange. I'm not gonna use any black at all. And I've got a whole series of blues here that I can use. I could grab a dark blue, and I might think that because shadow, but blue, just from experience, I know that a little bit of blue goes a long way to dulling this down. And I want my shadow side to still feel like it's orange, but just a dull orange. So I'm gonna go, let's go with this one. Okay, I'm gonna lay this in very, very lightly. And you'll see it's kind of just going a bit on top. Orange is disappearing, but that's okay. I can bring it back because I'm working so lightly. Okay, and so I can go back again with my orange. And now as I lay my orange on top, you'll see my orange is very dull now. Okay, but it's also a bit light. So that blue is a bit lighter than I thought it would be. But I'm not gonna panic. There's no need to panic because I can just keep on layering and I can grab a different blue. Once again, my shadow does not go right to the edge of my sphere. And I'm going to want to blend in with this yellow. So I can go in this direction as well, remember? And so we're going to go darker after all. Well, let's try this one. Is this any darker? So I'm going to do. That one doesn't seem darker either. So maybe we do go dark. There we go. And now I can bring that back to orange again. And I don't have, for some reason, my pack of pastels does not have white anywhere. So I am going to have to use my Conte crayon to really get my highlight here. And just for fun, I'm going to warm this up. I'm going to try and see if I can bring in some other sort of color just to add some interest. Bring some of that and then in the cool area. Now this is a little risky here. I just want to see if I can do it. Just a hint of this light green. I'm going to bring in a real light blue as well, just to really keep that reflected light edge. Lay that in lightly. And let's bring some orange back in because I want to keep it still feeling orange. But I have not much for purple. So yeah, so what I'm running into here, because this paper has hardly any tooth, you can see I've already got too many layers here and the paper doesn't hardly take it anymore. And that's the difference. So this purple's not really blending in very well anymore with the other colors. So that's where it pays to use good materials if you can. But again, we all know how pricey they can get. That yellow is nicely still going on there. And then of course, this soft pastel is very smeary. So this is where you have to be very careful to not I turn it, by the way, because you know the hand has a natural arc to it. So you can follow those. Oh, my thing's got a nasty bump on it here. But that's if I wouldn't worry that normally, because normally I'd be, you know, putting color down in the background as well, and then I would, you know, take care of that. You know, and I can even have fun with, can I even get a little scribbly here and still retain the feel. Three-dimensionality. The camera doesn't quite pick up the color too well. So I'm going to go ahead and let's put this down on a surface here. That will always help. So I'm going to put a little bit of background around it. So let's pretend it's on a green table. Actually, I can just go over the whole thing. That would make more sense. complementary of green is red. So I first dull my green down by putting down red. So the first, let's pull that green a little bit further. First color I bring in, my red. And I'm gonna need to darken that as well. So I can grab a dark green. And that's just a little bit obvious too. But you don't want to just depend on, like, if you can help it, if you can, work so you're not just depending on the colors that are in your tubes or in your box or wherever. You want to know how to, really. Also, then you don't have to buy so many. Is if you learn how to mix your colors and learn how to create colors, again, it's just that much more freedom. Yeah, see, I can't, there we go. It's not really taking this blue. I should be able to lay in a nice, deep, dark blue here. I'm gonna bring this, if I do this, I can, by lightening up the rest of the shadow. So now for my reflected light, I'm gonna bring this green back into it. Just a little bit more red for deep values. Okay, and let's get a color behind it as well. We'll go for blue, I think. Let's go for a bit of a brighter blue, I think. That will help balance nicely with the orange sphere, right? So I'm using fairly straight lines to start. And then maybe I'll go just a little bit up and down to I'm gonna chance it and see if I can lay in just a hint of blue up here, as if it's reflecting just a little bit. But I'm gonna have to put some white down first, otherwise it's just gonna end up dark. It might be a really bad idea. Because it can actually end up just creating a duller orange, and especially with this really bad paper. I'm gonna just a little bit here on the sides. All right, see if I can get just a little hint blue without it going. Again, the camera's not really showing it too well. All right, so yeah, so there we have a pastel rendition of just a sphere. Okay, and maybe I'll try one more, and I'll do a different color with on a different background, and let's see what would be probably the best idea. We'll go for a cone. And keep it a little bit smaller, just for the sake of time. All right, so this time I will choose a secondary color. I'm going to give myself a real challenge here. I'm going to work with purple because I don't have hardly any purple here to work with. I only have just basically my one purple. So can I see if I can pull this off? It's a little dirty. It's got some orange on there from working on the last one. So once again, I'm going to lay down my base color. And I'm going to follow the directions of my cross contour lines, going up to my point. And see how quickly this is filling in solid. So, all right. Now, here's always the challenge. This is why I wanted to try this one, because the challenge is to make a purple darker and duller. I use this complementary, the opposite color. Well, the opposite is yellow. So here's my real challenge is, though, if I get too much yellow in there, yellow is not a cool color. Yellow is very warm. So to put yellow into a shadowed side, you have to be very careful of it, that it doesn't dominate it and warm up that side. So I'm really going to need to bring in some blue as well, because blue is very cool. But that offers another challenge, because we all know blue, at least hopefully, blue and yellow together make green. And I could end up with a whole green looking side there if I'm not careful. So I just have to be really, conscious, and that's why it's good to practice these things, so that when you're working on your actual piece, you know what you're doing. All right, so I'm going to just put an ever so slight hint of yellow, and I'm going to go right up to the edge because it is so light, so that may help with my reflected light. I'm going to keep my I'll just keep my light source in the same corner. How are we doing time? 8 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, so you can see, well, maybe you can if I show it without a glare. It's actually lightening that side up. So let's bring some blue in here and hope this doesn't go too green on me. Again, I can follow my cross contour lines here. Really questioning and wondering, how am I going to be able to pull this one off? How's this going to end up looking in the end? Not sure. This blue has a bit of a purplish feel, so I'm going to bring some of it into it. I can already see what's happening with my paper here. It's just filling in solid so quickly. So, all right, let's get some warm. I'm going to bring in this bright pink because we need to get this side warmed up and brightened up too. Values, of course, also is important. So I'm going to push and lift up as I go so I don't create a hard edge. Okay. Pink is very safe because it's got red in it, and red is present in purple. So I don't have to worry. I shouldn't have to worry about the fact that it's getting so pink up there. Should be able to tone that right down with my purple again. Shake off a bit of the excess. There we go. Brings, whoop, oh, that white is very bold. But that's okay because it's really getting my light values, which I definitely needed. This is a much harder material, this white, and so you can actually see it's just tearing and lifting that purple, that pastel. And go a little bit in this direction. So you can really see my stroke. If I can get this closer, you can see how evident the pencil stroke is. And if you're going in the right direction, then it doesn't matter. So okay, so what color? I'll put this on a red table. So once again, I'm going to first establish my base color, my actual color of the table. And dark green, I'm going to neutralize the shadow.
Is that red?
Right now? Right
now? The other color?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just put green. Oh, I'm not on the camera. So I just put green down on top of the red, which looks ridiculous, but now I should be able to put my red on top and end up with a darker, duller red, but that green is not overly, yeah, again, the two aren't totally mixing well together, but that's okay. So I can just pull in blue, this blue, which is definitely a darker one, and it's cool. And I don't want to totally lose the red, so I'm going to bring a little bit of red back into that. And then what I'll actually do is brighten up the rest of this by bringing in a little bit of orange. Again, these are good exercises to try with any of your media, not, you know, just because it really, yeah, it just helps you learn how to really work with your media, with your color, to create whatever it is you're trying to create. So now I'm pressing harder. So now you can see it gives a much more sense of light, and now we definitely have a dark, dull red. So that green did, in the end, takes well. So that's part of the deal, is just gaining more experience and not panicking right away if something's not working right away. So I'm just going to darken that up right against there. Right. And I want a bit of reflect. I want to reflect that a little bit. Oops. So I'm going to see if I can capture that effect. I'm going to put a little bit of white down to lighten that up. Let's go. So I'm going to try and get the illusion that some of that red from the table is reflecting up onto my purple pyramid here. A little lighter yet. Now, of course, depending on what sort of background I put behind it will determine what might have reflecting on the other side. I'm going to use, well, I could try this bright, well, maybe I can go with complementary again. I'll use this one here. That's bright. Wow. Seriously bright. I'm going to try and so even for stuff like this, I practice try to make an interesting shape everywhere. So if I can, I want to try and make this feel like it's behind, so I definitely want to go in a different direction. I want to make that not look like it's just beside that. So, all right, so here's my challenge once again, is can I get a little bit of yellow reflection on here without dulling this? So I'm going to go in with white first to get the value down, or up, sorry, just get that backwards. Okay, so let's raise the value up a little bit and remove, see if I can cover up some of the purple so that my yellow is mixing with white instead of with purple, because if it mixes with purple, it's going to go a brownish color, which I don't want that. So very subtle, you can't even see it on the camera. It's extremely subtle. Pull it just a little bit further. Try to make it a little bit bolder if I can. Okay. this up just a little bit. Want to make it just a little bit more interesting. I don't know if that's working. I don't think so. Wanted it to get just a little bit darker at the bottom here, but it's not really working. It's just becoming this bright green, which is really changing a lot. Changing the whole feel of it. So that's oops, that bit of all right. So there we have an example. Let me just pull it away a little bit so you can see the two together.
That orange looks so realistic. The shading just totally gave it the good round sphere.
Bye.
Say goodnight, Rick.
Good night.
Good night, Miles.
So, Miles would like to show you the drawing he was doing.
When you learn how to, be able to render your forms in different ways like this, practicing with different colors, different light sources coming from different angles. Actually, that would have been a really good thing to have done as a cylinder. But trying, and if you have anything, you set it up, you practice. It's just really, really helpful later on. You may not enjoy the process, but you sure are happy later when you are, having to, you have a person in your picture and you want to do, paint it, and you want it to at least have a little bit of three-dimensionality to it. Then it's nice having the knowledge of, roughly where does your highlights and your shadows go, and then when you really have an understanding, then you don't always need to have that light source. You don't have to set it all up. Okay. One thing that really, if you're ever doing this, is really pay attention to what you can do with reflected light. That's a big deal. That really helps bring out the fact that it's, tucking underneath there. And then, the reflected light, it's always very subtle, but just a little bit over there. So, all right.